Alrighty then. Hello, gents and ladies, and anyone else who's interested in listening to this. And I've been away for a little while. I thought I'd come back here and try and put out as many videos as possible the next few days, weeks, months, whatever. And I want to start a new schedule with all this and try and putting out some really interesting information. So we are going to look at a book called The Jesus Mysteries today, and just quote a little from it regarding St. Paul and his Gnostic, proto-Gnostic beliefs, and look at this kind of narrative. Well, it's not narrative scaffolding, just a kind of helpful layout, point by point, kind of skim over of why St. Paul was very much steeped in a more Gnostic kind of Christianity than the literalist Christians who believed that Christ was, had a nativity and was a flesh and blood character who grew up and, did all the things humans do. This is not what St. Paul basically says. It's very strange, this. I think it should be way more an idea, popular belief than it is at the moment for everyone as well, because it says so much about Christianity and the beginnings of Christianity. Of course, we know as well that some of the leading mystical Christians and Marcionites and Valentinians and so on held up St. Paul as their number one magus and apostle. And he obviously is a very important person. So I'm going to just run through and quote from the book. It's not very long. It's very simply just the kind of compendium of ideas about why this is very probably where the kind of academia should be focusing, and it is, of course, becoming more of a prominent idea. I hope to, in my own way, put this information out so that more people can think about it, because once you get to the Gnostic understanding, a more esoteric understanding of Christianity, you can see why there's a syncretic undercurrent of this kind of belief system that runs straight through so many other religions around the world. And this is one of the things that I really want to focus on in doing this. So let me share my screen, and we're going to go straight to the book. This is by Peter Gandy, and Timothy Freak. The Jesus Mysteries was the original Jesus pagan god. I found this the other day in an article. The book was only less than £3 on Kindle, so I just snapped it straight up and went straight to was Paul the Gnostic chapter, and I found this little doozy here. It's really interesting, and again, it's not going to be long. So was Paul the Gnostic. Let's review a little of what we have discovered. The Gnostics claimed that the spiritual lineage stemmed from Paul, and that they were privy to secret oral teachings taught by Paul to select disciples. Gnostics had many gospels which they attributed to Paul, their great apostle. Many Gnostic groups claimed Paul as their founding father. Indeed. By the middle of the 2nd century, the communities to which Paul had written his letters are known to have been centers of Marcionite Gnosticism. But to my point at the beginning, Paul's anti-Gnostic pastoral letters are fake, forged in the late 2nd century. In the genuine letters, Paul is not anti-Gnostic and never mentioned any historical Jesus. So Timothy, Titus, and so on, there are about 6 of them, try and peg Jesus as more of an historical character. They're interesting epistles, but again, they are looking far more fake, and there is even a computer program that was written that looked over the language of the pastorals against the genuine epistles, and they were proven not to have been written by the same hand. The grammatical structures, word usage, and so on were not Paul's original language and usage. So literalist Christians of the 2nd century attack Paul, who they claim contradicts the true teaching and is the adversary of Jesus. Paul was born in Tarsus, a major center for the pagan mysteries, and often used terms from the mysteries in his letters. He even calls himself a steward of the mysteries of God, the term for a priest in the pagan mysteries of Serapis. Paul quotes pagan sages and teaches pagan doctrines, and we will go right into this soon. When properly translated, Paul's letters reveal a powerful Gnostic content. Paul regularly uses Gnostic terms. He is a teacher of the pneumatic initiation. He journeyed mystically to the third heaven. He teaches that Jesus came only in the likeness of flesh. And again, you can literally analyze the word usage and find this to be true, straight from the epistles. He is disparaging of external religion. He describes the scriptures as allegories many times and symbolic. He rejects the law of Jehovah, who he calls the mediator and the God of this passing age. And again, the idea of a mediator, a demiurge, is completely pagan, but also Gnostic, a middleman, if you like. Jehovah is indeed one of these kind of middle, is a lesser of the netters of Egypt, one of the smaller gods, and a bit of a naughty fellow as well. Whilst the literalists saw the resurrection as the promise that they would rise from their graves and experience bodily immortality after the second coming, Paul teaches the Gnostic doctrine that the resurrection is a mystical experience that can be had here and now. A very pagan belief, and it's a belief held today by Hindus and Buddhists and so on. Now, the great secret that Paul claims to be able to reveal is not that Jesus literally walked the earth, but the mystical revelation of Christ in you. The Gnostics claimed that, like the Gospels, Paul's letters encoded secret teachings. Paul talked in two ways at once: the outer mysteries to the psychic initiates and the inner mysteries to the pneumatic initiates. Paul's letters can be understood in different ways because they were designed to speak on different levels simultaneously. And indeed, you can read the Bible in many different ways, and the New Testament as well, and the Old Testament as well. There are multiple ways to interpret the letter, and any rabbi will tell you exactly the same thing. Many parables, and then the other meanings as well upon the parables, and then the numerological meanings, and it goes on, the astrological meanings. It's a humongous study. Paul is frustrated with his disciples because they are not ready to abandon elementary Christianity and move on to the deeper level. Now, I've made prior videos trying to figure out exactly, read this if you're fed up with my voice, that St. Paul might have been an historical character and very much it exhibits the kind of characteristics of Josephus, Flavius, and that this Paul character might well be a kind of hybrid character, not necessarily a real person, but someone who is kind of semi-fictionalized, but was based on Josephus because they are so similar in character and their life stories were remarkably close to one another. And we think, and it looks very much like, say, Luke and Acts were written by basically the same person, and Josephus happened to be so close to the circles here, most probably obviously having the same publisher as St. Paul. Something's going on here, and it's going on in Rome, and I wanted to show some other pieces of evidence in the coming weeks of this, and it's decent evidence. It's primary evidence from Scripture itself. All you have to do is, draw the dots here. A few speculations, but I think they're valid. And yeah, you come to a better understanding, I think, of what's going on. I hope that was useful to everyone. I am very much looking forward to continuing to do this. Let me stop sharing. Yeah, and take it easy, and I hope that was useful. And yeah, man. All right, cool. Bye. Bye.